Hello students, teachers, parents, history nerds. Hello everybody, and welcome to Nutshelled History, where we lay out the facts, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We continue with our Modern World History series by looking at international security. Don't forget that there's a link for a fill-in-the-blank worksheet in the description. Feel free to use it. I just ask that you like and subscribe. I apologize for any mispronunciations ahead of time. I do my best. Okay, let's go. During the Cold War, the United States and the Soviet Union built up arsenals of nuclear weapons. To ensure that nuclear weapons did not proliferate or spread rapidly, many nations signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, NPT, in 1968. Some nations have not signed the treaty. Others are suspected of violating it. During the 1950s and 1960s, the Soviet Union and the United States took part in an arms race. Each country tried to produce more nuclear weapons than the other. In the 1970s, several treaties were negotiated to limit their weapons. However, the two countries have accused each other of violating the treaties. Failing to renew and follow treaties could increase the risk of nuclear war. Nuclear weapons, along with chemical and biological weapons, make up a category of weapons called Weapons of Mass Destruction, WMD. The United States and other nations work to keep WMDs from being in the hands of hostile states or terrorists. Terrorism is the use of violence, especially against civilians, by groups of extremists to achieve political goals. During the 2000s, there was an increase in attacks of terrorism. One Islamic fundamentalist group is Al-Qaeda, whose leader was Osama bin Laden. Al-Qaeda terrorists were responsible for deadly attacks on the United States on September 11, 2001. In response to these attacks, the United States and other nations fought terrorism. In 2001, Osama bin Laden and other Al-Qaeda leaders were living in Afghanistan. Afghanistan's government was controlled by the Taliban, an Islamic fundamentalist group. When the Taliban would not surrender the terrorists, the United States formed a coalition of forces, including NATO allies, that overthrew the Taliban. The Taliban continued to fight for many years from remote areas and in Pakistan. Osama bin Laden was killed in 2011. President Trump negotiated an agreement and troops withdraw from Afghanistan in 2020. ISIS, or Islamic State in Iraq and Syria, an Islamist terrorist organization, controlled large parts of Iraq and Syria and ruled brutally. And local forces ended ISIS control in most areas by 2019. Another source of terrorism is homegrown or domestic terrorism caused by racism, anti-Semitism, or other types of hatred. This type of terrorism, which is difficult to identify and stop, occurs in many parts of the world. During the 2000s, several nations, including Russia and China, threatened world peace. Russia has used cyber warfare or attacks on network systems and equipment. Russia has taken aggressive action against Georgia and Ukraine. In response to these aggressions, Europe and the United States have imposed economic sanctions on Russia, but these have not stopped Russia's aggression. China has committed human rights abuses and refused to grant democratic rights to its own people. It has also taken possession of islands in the South China Sea claimed by other nations. Iran and North Korea have also caused concerns in the early 2000s. Iran was believed to work on a program that could lead to a nuclear weapon. North Korea also threatened world peace with nuclear weapons and long-range missiles. Economic sanctions from the United States and the UN have not stopped North Korea's nuclear program. During the 2000s, the world faced additional risks. Criminals and others launched cyber attacks on networked computers and other electronic devices. These attacks have increased the need for cybersecurity, or ways to protect computers, networks, and data against unauthorized use. The United States has accused Russia, Iran, China, and North Korea of these types of attacks. Another global threat is the result of global climate change. It is expected to result in sea level rise and more droughts, storms, and excessive temperatures. These events are one cause of refugee flows that could damage global stability. Global migration has grown quickly for various reasons. Migrants try to escape war and other threats, as well as poverty, and to seek a better life. Large flows of migrants have contributed to the growth in anti-immigrant parties and politicians in the developed world. All right, let's recap. During the Cold War, the US and the Soviet Union were in a nuclear arms race that led to a flurry of treaties aimed at curbing weapons, although accusations of violations kept things tense. The Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty of 1968 aimed to stop nuclear spread, but not all countries signed up, and some were suspected of mischief. Fast forward to the 2000s, and terrorism, with high-profile groups like Al-Qaeda, hello, September 11, prompted the US and allies to kick out the Taliban and hunt down Osama bin Laden. Meanwhile, Russia and China were flexing cyber muscles, making waves in Ukraine and the South China Sea, while North Korea and Iran threw tantrums over nuclear ambitions. But wait, there's more. Cyber attacks ramped up, and climate change added its own chaos, with rising sea levels and droughts fueling migration that has stressed out developed countries. A classic case of too many problems, not enough coffee. There you have it, folks. That is international security nutshelled. Thanks for stopping by Nutshelled History. Do you feel secure today? Let us know in the comments down below. Don't forget to go nuts on those like and subscribe buttons for me. See y'all next time on Nutshelled History.